Let's have a very honest, straightforward and non-sugar-coated video about carbon fiber wheels. Welcome everyone to Chasing Tents. My name is Abby. Thank you for joining me and I hope everyone's safe with this coronavirus epidemic. Please stay at home if you're under lockdown and just keep everyone else safe. Wash your hands and everything else you probably know already. So let's make this quick and detailed video about carbon fiber wheels. Now I'm going to start with a bit of a rant because whenever I make a video I do a little bit of research, and when I researched about carbon fiber wheels and you know, like some detailed benefits and stuff like that, and how I can change them into some kind of dynamic functional benefits to explain it to you guys, all I found was some thumbnails on YouTube or links on YouTube saying, look at my $4,000 wheels, or look at my $5,000 wheels, some glossy this or glossy Gucci that. Just people either showing off kind of wheels in terms of like how expensive they are, or in terms of how like Gucci looking they are. You know, that's the term which has been used, and not all of them, you know, 50% only. And this has really disappointed me because I really want to give you today some proper facts, not just saying, oh, they are lighter so they are better. Lighter, and how that lightness kind of is directly proportional to performance, functionality, dynamicness, if that's the word, and in terms of kind of how this will really benefit you getting those lap times down on a track, or kind of ease of rideability on the road. So my request to you is, please don't skip this video along, watch it till the end. Everyone's under lockdown anyways, so you might as well watch it. So guys, let's talk about power versus weight first of all, because the reason I say that, because power needs to be manageable. I've always been a massive advocate of not going for 200 horsepower, 210 horsepower, you know, at a dyno, where I'm going for like say 180 odd horsepower, and then have, you know, lightness when it comes to unsprung mass, and you know, kind of, you know, Michael Neves from MCN said something really good. Your bike needs, you need to ride your bike, not the other way around. You know, like you sometimes see a funny video on YouTube, a big German Shepherd is trying to take the owner for a walk rather than the other way around. So that's what I'm trying to say. So power needs to be manageable, and the weight loss needs to be, self-weight loss is fantastic, brilliant, but you are not moving. You are not under any gyroscopic forces or stuff like that. Moving on the bike is brilliant when you've lost weight, but when I say to you unsprung mass, it's all about moving parts on the bike. Now, before I talk about the performance side of things, handling, acceleration, braking, and so on, crashing, you know, what I really want to let you know is, get rid of this stigma that carbon fiber wheels are something up here and you don't really need them. They are here, and they're here to stay, and wait for it. You know, in 2022 to 2024, the rumors of a lot of new bikes, carbon fiber wheels in the R and the S models, or like kind of, the reason I'm saying R and S, like kind of the top models of a particular bike, carbon wheels will be standard. Great example is the BMW M Sport S1000RR. You get the carbon wheels as standard on the bike. You know what, 3 years ago, not quick shifters, auto blippers were the new thing. Now if you see a bike without an auto blipper in 2020, you think, whoa, what's wrong with this company? So, you know, watch, see, in 3-4 years time, carbon wheels will be there on most bikes as an OEM part. So let's talk about performance. Now, carbon wheels give you acceleration, better braking, better handling, and in terms of overall dynamic performance, they give you a lot of bang for the buck. The reason I say that, because when you purchase say top of the range Öhlins FKR or FGR with the TTX or K-Tech, you know, is it D-Tech, you know, Pro or Maxtons or whatever you want to buy, you know, suspension or engine, these are serviceable parts. You know, you buy a carbon wheel, you've got it, that's it. You just got to clean it, you got to keep an eye on it, you know, if you have a massive crash, maybe x-ray it. But, you know, in terms of a part in general is a non-serviceable part. It's a great one-time investment, and then you've got it, and it gives you loads of other benefits. Let's start with handling. So the overall weight of carbon fiber wheels, I'm not going to weigh them today. That's for another video, and that's going to be a good one, because I'm going to be weighing carbons, mags, magnesium, forged aluminiums, cast, all together. And also I've got a carbon wheel with a ceramic bearing as well, so I'm going to do everything together. So let's leave that for another day. So let's talk about handling first of all. Now, handling with these carbon fiber wheels is just absolutely epic. The reason I say it, because from personal example, the first time I put the carbon wheels on, I was at Silverstone following the instructor, the first 3 laps you do before the track day actually starts, and I just thought there's something wrong with my bike, there's something wrong. I just couldn't understand what. And then I realized I had carbon wheels, because even at slow speed when I was turning into corners, maggot speckers, it was just beautiful, just like a ballet dancer. It's just absolutely amazing. Now let me give you 2 really good examples. If you've started your life on a 600, they come with a 180 tire. 1000cc bike these days come with a 190 or a 200 is quite common these days. Now imagine you've got a 200 rear tire, so quite a the circumference on the outside, it's quite bigger than compared to a 160 or a 180. However, when you turn in with a carbon wheel, it'll feel like it's a 160 or a 180. So that's a real life example what you would feel like in turn-ins with carbon wheels. Secondly, imagine you've got an automatic system of an auto counter steer every time you turn. That's how it feels. If you don't know what counter steer is, please have a look on YouTube. It's a brilliant way of turning the bike in when when you really want to have sharp turn-ins. So with the carbon wheels, it feels like you've got those auto counter steer going on every time you turn, and it just makes the turn-in so plush, so stable, so beautiful, and you just don't have to exert a lot of pressure. Let's move on to acceleration. Now you will think, how can wheels like that help with acceleration? I'm going to give you another real-to-life example. There was a bike, and even now I think I've never owned a ZX-10R, but I'm a big fan of a 2017 model, Kawasaki ZX-10RR Winter Edition. Now that bike came with a World Endurance head on top, just like the BMW HP4 race, and the internals were very light. Now the reason I'm mentioning that, okay, if your internals of a engine are very light, that led to a 600 to a 800 RPM increase. So for example, if a bike is doing 16,000 RPM, if your internals of an engine are light, it has to exert less pressure, less weight, it spins quicker, so you get more RPM. Why I'm saying that? Because imagine you've got a lighter weighted engine, internally lighter weighted engine, you get more RPM, connects to a 520 sprocket chain conversion, more lightness, then you've got these wheels, more lightness. So when it comes to power, the less kind of chugging it needs to do in terms of movable parts, movable engine parts, movable chain and sprocket, movable wheels, the more acceleration the bike will give you. And this is the best example I can give you. And you're going to think, 600 RPM is nothing. But when it comes to racing and stuff like that, that's a lot. And when that is kind of multiplied with more lighter parts, with unsprung mass, it pays you dividends. Now you're going to say, carbons aren't allowed in racing. We'll come to that in a bit. Now let's talk about braking. Braking with these wheels is absolutely epic, because if you've got heavier wheels, the rotational mass is more. With the lighter wheels, your bike stops quicker. The bike is actually more stable because the weight, like I said before, is in the hub. So even for people who are trail breakers, people who really take the braking all the way to the end and then do a bit of an L-shaped turn, and then they have to really chuck the bike in. It's so easy. And then also people like me, close throttle turners, who really take a lot of speed into the corners, the stability is amazing. And then afterwards when you brake, because there's less mass, the bike is more stable. And where the mass is, which like I said again in the hub, is so stable when it comes to braking, and your pad and brake wear in general is less. Now let's talk about the difficult topics: racing, crashing. Now why aren't carbon wheels used in racing. Now, people have a misconception that the reason they're not used in racing because they are brittle. No, I've spoken to two people who have, one who run a race team and the other is actually a marshal. The problem with these wheels is the same problem you've got with Formula One. In 2021, Formula One is changing. The carbon on a Formula One car is going to have a bit more rubber, a lot more tethers. Why? Because when a Formula One car crashes, what happens? Massive amount of mess. And then you see people brooming all the carbon bits away. And what do carbon bits cause? A lot of slip and a lot of punctures. So the main reason these aren't used in racing is not because they're brittle. Those days are absolutely gone. Is because when they do crash, they can make a lot of mess. It takes longer for the races to restart, which leads to cold tire accidents. It leads to a lot of time wastage, and in general it's a nuisance. So that's why at the present moment they're not used in racing, but in the future it's going to happen because Koenigsegg themselves, who have started to make their own carbon wheels. I think the Agera, is it, or the Agera? Since 2015, 2016, they've been making their own carbon wheels. So they're getting more and more popular, and soon they will be in racing. At the moment, it's just that they create a lot of mess on a track, and it just creates a lot of nuisance. Now, finally, let's talk about crashing. Now, this is a very interesting topic. This is where you probably will think that I will say, yeah, these are not very good at crashing, because when they shatter, they shatter big time. Believe it or not, that the carbon wheels have got a lot of flex in them. You throw them on the road, they come back up. So in terms of getting shattered, they don't shatter as much because they've got a mix of rubberized Kevlar these days. There's a lot of technology going into carbon wheels now where they don't shatter the way they used to be. They're not that brittle anymore. And you know what, the flex is unbelievable. If you have a mag wheel, magnesium one, they crack quite easily when it comes to heavy crashes. The aluminium walls dent big time, so you lose air in the tire. With the carbon wheels, ask any expert on carbon wheels, there's a lot of flex, so you don't lose air in your tire even if you have a crash. So it's pretty these days is pretty crash proof. And BMW did a lot of tests, and I think after about 600 or 800 kilos, I don't remember the exact number, the wheel finally cracked. So it takes a lot of flex compared to before. So the only problem I ever had with the wheel, with these wheels, that they are so light that the front was a bit wheelie happy. So if you've got a 180 plus horsepower bike, the front can really come up a bit, and then it's a bit. And I think there's two things with this. Number one, you can do the old school racer style, like Simon Crayford said, sit a bit. As soon as you know the bike is gonna wheelie a bit, you can sit a bit forward, so the weight is there. Secondly, a dab of the rear brake, or thumb brake, or whatever you use, that brings the front down. What it can do, really, a lot of the sensors are based in the wheels these days, so it can reduce your power from the ECU. The ECU can send signals to the bike that the wheel is up in the air, so you can lose your power a bit. But the modern ECUs are pretty clever. They know these kind of things, so they keep the bike down anyways. But I'm just nitpicking, but this is what I kind of had. I had to change a lot of my damper setting to the hardest setting because the carbon wheels are so light. It was just making my front quite light, but that's not a bad thing. I just kind of learned something new, how to manage these things. Finally, the aesthetic point of view. A lot of people love the look of carbon wheels. I like it, but I'm more of a function guy, a dynamic guy. What will this give me in terms of lap times, performance, rather than looks? And if you are going for looks, if you are really into your bling thing, get a single-sided swing arm bike, because then these wheels look absolutely epic on those bikes. If you are into your these come in glossy and matte finish, so whatever you like, you can have, it's a great looking wheel in general. But I'm not into aesthetics, but if you are into one, get a single-sided swing arm bike. You'll make the most of the looks you get. For road usage, with the size of potholes we've got these days, I kind of, I'm not comfortable on the road in terms of potholes. Otherwise, I have used them on the road and I've had no problems at all. It's just when you hit a massive pothole, it just plays up in your head, and I think that's more worse than anything else. These wheels can take a lot of curb hitting or kind of pothole damage and stuff like that. But I just think, as a avid track rider, keep them for the track. That's where you squeeze a lot out of them. In terms of the road, you're going to notice the difference. You will notice the difference, but I wouldn't put them on the road just for the sake of it. BMW, encourage people to keep their carbons for the road, and I think, yeah, some people, if you like it, do it. I think I do it more for a convenience point of view, that my carbons, which I just say, I don't want to pick them up, my carbons have always got a slick tire on them, and my forged aluminiums have got a super coaster on them, so it's more of a convenience thing. If you want to use them on the road, feel free to use them on the road, but for me, it's mainly for the track. Finally, guys, let's answer the $1 million question. Are these wheels for you? Let me be honest, if you are a novice rider or an early intermediate rider who has just come out of the novice group, for example, I still think you could spend the money you would spend on the wheels, you could spend that on new tires and coaching. That would be more beneficial. When you start to enter the fast group is where I think you could spend some money on carbon wheels. But on the other side, if you've got some spare cash, do get the wheels, because they are absolutely stunning. They help you in so many ways than people actually imagine, and they are a maintenance-free upgrade. And you know what, talking about pricing, let's talk about prices. So you can get BST wheels for about £2,000, carbon wheels, and forged aluminium ones are about 2,200 to 2,500. So guys, they're not as expensive as people make them out to be on, like I said to you earlier, on YouTube thumbnails. They're not $1 million, they're not 4,000, they're not 3,000, they're £2,000. And then you've got the cost of your discs and stuff like that. You can transfer your existing wheels discs to these ones, or whatever. Now, in terms of where to buy them from, I use Road Race Performance Shropshire for all my bike needs and upgrades, and there's a code I've got. It's called Chase10 for 10% discount for anything and everything on their website. Now, if you're going to spend £2,000, 10% is half decent for wheels. And in terms of performance, in terms of confidence, these wheels will definitely give you what I said in that video. And you know what, guys, it's not going to be money wasted, it's going to be money well spent. Just don't hate them. They are coming. It's the next new upgrade. It's the next new OEM, let me use the word, Gucci part, all these new bike companies are going to use. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the patience. If you didn't skip, please subscribe to this channel. Please support me so I can make more videos like this, probably a bit shorter.